Good morning to all of you. Myself, Dr. Amar Kamble, Professor and HOD, Department of Rachna Sharir from Manjushri Research Institute of Ayurvedic Sciences, Gandhinagar, Gujarat.
Myself, Dr. Sonia Dhahat, Assistant Professor, Rashnashari Department at Sai Ram Ayurved Medical College and Research Center, Chennai, Tamil Nadu.
It is our privilege to welcome all of you in 2 days 6th National Conference, that is AttackOn 2024, which is based on the theme New Horizons in Ayurveda. This conference is going to be the platform for enlightening the ancient knowledge with advances and future perspectives of various strengths of the Ayurvedic science.
And we are proud to announce that this conference is endorsed by National Commission of Indian System of Medicine, NCISM New Delhi, and Maharashtra University of Health Sciences Nashik. And this conference is recognized by Maharashtra Council of Indian System of Medicine, that is MCIM Mumbai. We welcome all the chief guests of inaugural functions, all the knowledge speaker, chairperson, co-chairperson, all the session coordinators, and especially all the delegates from all over India.
Next, now we are starting with the inaugural ceremony of AttackOn 2024. The Ayurveda Teacher Association feels graceful to have eminent personality, that is Dr. Gitanjali Karle Madam, who is HOD and Professor of Department of Ayush, Maharashtra University of Health Sciences, Nashik. As a chief guest for today's inaugural function, I welcome Dr. Gitanjali Karle ma'am for this inaugural session.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, all, and hello, everyone. Dr. Kapil Suryanshi, President of Ayurveda Teachers Association. Is it my turn to talk?
Um, no, ma'am. First, we
Okay.
have a Lord Dhanvantari Shravan, ma'am. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Now, first, to have a blessings of Lord Dhanvantari, I invite Dr. Ujjwala Pawar, ma'am, from Government Ayurved College, Nanded, for Dhanvantari Shravan. So, over to you, ma'am.
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am,
Yes,
you are
ma'am.
audible. Now you can continue.
Yes. वन्दे धन्वन्तरिपदयुगुलं स्वीकृतकार्ये फलसिद्ध्यर्थम् वन्दे धन्वन्तरिपदयुगुलं स्वीकृतकार्ये फलसिद्ध्यर्थम् सर्वे सन्तु निरामयानि सर्वे सन्तु निरामयानि नन्दतु जगति सदा आरोग्यं नन्दतु जगति सदा आरोग्यं मा कश्चित् नो दुःखमाप्नुयात् मा कश्चित् नो दुःखमाप्नुयात् देयं सौख्यप्रदानम् वन्दे धन्वन्तरि पदयुगुलं स्वीकृतकार्ये फलसिद्ध्यर्थम् वन्दे धन्वन्तरि पदयुगुलं स्वीकृतकार्ये फलसिद्ध्यर्थम् स्वीकृतकार्ये फलसिद्ध्यर्थम् स्वीकृतकार्ये फलसिद्ध्यर्थम् Thank you.
Thank you, Ujjwala Pawar ma'am, for Dhanvantari Stavan. Now, after blessings of Lord Dhanvantari, I would like to quote few things about the Ayurveda Teachers Association. As you all know, Ayurveda Teacher Association is working sincerely and selflessly since last 6 years for the welfare of the Ayurveda fraternity, including academicians, practitioners, researchers, students, and entrepreneurs. This association has organized 5 national conferences till now successfully with overwhelming responses from delegates, paper and poster presenters, renowned speakers of Ayurveda working in various areas of nation who shared their precious knowledge and experiences in our conferences. Sonia,
Now I
over to you, Sonia.
yes. Now I request Dr. Pradeep Jondade sir, who is working president of Ayurveda Teacher Association, for the introductory speech for this today's session. Dr. Pradeep Jondade sir, please sir.
Very good morning, madam. Very good morning, all of you. I'm audible?
Yes sir, you
Yes,
are
sir.
audible sir.
Okay. Dear friends of Ayurveda, dignitaries on the online dais, Honorable President Dr. Suryavanshi sir, Honorable Dr. Nitin Chandurkar sir, Honorable Dr. Nitin Wagmare sir, and today's our eminent chief guest, Dr. Karli Gitanjali madam, and all my national executives, my all state executives, ATA, Women's Wing, then the Advisory Committee Board, respected all faculty members, dear students. Today, we are celebrating the 6th National Conference on Horizons in Ayurveda. Last 5 conferences, we have made very good glance on the quality education, research in Ayurveda, then the update in the Ayurveda, future in the Ayurveda, evidence base of Ayurveda. So today's the new horizons in the Ayurveda CME have very great speakers and very dynamic speakers from the various areas of the India. So they have the 6 sessions. In the morning session there are 3, and after lunch there is a 3 another sessions. In these sessions, the immunosuppressant of Ayurveda have a great speaker, Dr. Malhari Sir Deshpande sir. Then afterwards, CCRS innovation and bridging the traditional wisdom and the modern medicine by Dr. Rabindranath Acharya sir. Afterwards, the new horizons in the Marma Chikitsa have the great speaker, Dr. Naveen Joshi sir. After lunchtime, Dr. Artho in Ayurveda, very good subject for our all great Ayurveda Charyas by the T. Suresh Kumar. Then the identification of the Manas Roga patient in day by day practice by Honorable Prithvi Devi MP from the Kottakal, and the new horizons of Ayurveda industry by the Dr. Ajit Lingayat. In this online session, there are more than 500 the paper presentation and the poster presented. More than 1,000 delegates are registered themselves, and I appeal all my respected faculty members and students, please grab the knowledge from our honorable and the dynamic speakers today's and tomorrow's our conference. Thank you, madam. Over
Thank you
to
so much. Thank you so much sir for giving us the information for regarding today's scheduled session. Over to you, Amar sir.
Uh, Now next, I request Honorable Dr. Gitanjali Karle ma'am, who is HOD and Professor of Department of Ayush, MUHS, Nashik, to have her words of guidance, ma'am. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Again, welcome to all and very good morning. President of this Ayurveda Teachers Association, Dr. Rahul Suryanshi, Secretary of ATA, Dr. Chandorkar, and all stakeholders of ATA. Actually, this ATA is working on this platform since 6 years, and day by day, it is doing very well for teacher well-being and upgradation of Ayush systems. Now, I am here today as a MUHS representative, and I can see a very enriched list of scientific sessions. Dr. Zondale told us about the scientific sessions, and there are near about 500 paper presenters. And I am aware about spirit, then passion and devotion of Dr. Rahul and team. And hopefully, not hopefully, definitely this conference will get a different level of success. So all the best to all stakeholders and all paper presenters. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gitanjali Karle ma'am, for your valuable expression about the conference with your blessings. We are grateful to you for sparing your time with us, ma'am. Thank you very much.
I will be there with you up to tomorrow's evening. So thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Thank you very much. Over to you, ma'am. Sonia, ma'am.
Now I request our Dr. Rahul Suryavanshi sir for his presidential address. Dr. Rahul Suryavanshi sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible now, sir.
थैंक यू. बहुत अच्छा धन्वंतरी सवन डॉक्टर उज्ज्वला पवार मैम ने किया है. आप सबने बहुत अच्छा इंट्रोडक्शन कर दिया है. तो डॉक्टर गीतांजलि कारली मैम, who is HOD प्रोफेसर ऑफ आयुष डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ महाराष्ट्र यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ हेल्थ साइंसेस नासिक. बहुत खुशी की बात है हमारे कलीग आज यूनिवर्सिटी में आयुष डिपार्टमेंट जो पहले तैयार हुआ HOD और प्रोफेसर है, और वही हमारे इस 6th नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस में एज अ ऑब्जर्वर यहाँ मौजूद है. तो उनका मैं पहले तहे दिल से स्वागत करता हूँ. आई एम वेरी ग्लैड. हार्टी मॉर्निंग टू एवरीवन जॉइनिंग अस टुडे. I assure that this conference will prove to be fruitful and informative for all the members participating in this conference. I'm grateful for all the speakers, chairpersons, co-chairpersons, and also coordinators of our all sessions who have joined us today to share their knowledge and experiences with us. Sure, this conference will truly exclude the diverse spirit will be an immense success. This annual conference 8124 has been a part of our ATA for about 6 years now, and it has always helped yield useful and spectacular results. It has always been a great medium to include people departments and the mutual respect amongst people of Ayurveda. It is also a great way to grab opportunities since it is a great platform to share our experiences, wisdom with the people that can be inspiring. Before beginning, I would like to thanks to all the dignitaries joining with us this year. We are all grateful that you all have taken out that time from your busy schedule to help make us understand Ayurveda knowledge. We have tried to keep this conference as interactive as possible. Therefore, you all the dignitaries are free to ask eligible and related questions to our chairpersons, co-chairpersons, and speakers. And I'm very thankful to NCISM that who gives us permission within 2 days. Just we mail them, and within 2 days they give us permission. Ma'am, Dr. Registrar, Dr. Bangal sir, and Dr. Gitanjali Karle ma'am, who always support us for this conference. And also this year MCM also give us support for this conference. So I thankful Dr. Raman Gungalkar sir, Director of Ayush of Maharashtra, and Dr. Registrar Dr. Wange sir, who gives us permission. And I'm very thankful to all coordinators, all dignitaries, and this day in charge, Dr. Amar Kamble sir, Dr. Soumya Dutt, who was working since last 1 month for the successful of this conference. Family members and delegates. So all the best for this conference. Thank you.
Amar sir, you are not audible. Okay, Amar
Am I
sir.
audible?
Yeah, sir.
Uh, Thank you, Dr. Rahul Suryavanshi sir, who is very hard-working person. Thank you for your words of the gratitude and encouragement. Now, at the end of this ceremony, I request Dr. Dattatray Lode sir, who is principal and HOD of Department of Comar Bhrutta, G.S. Gune Ayurved College, Ahmednagar, for the vote of thanks of this inaugural ceremony. Over to you, Dattatray sir. Over to you, Dattatray sir. Hello, hello. Lode sir is there.
If Lodesar is not there, then Dr.
Dr.
Chandurkar
Chandurkar
sir,
sir,
secretary, will.
for the vote of thanks. I request Dr. Chandurkar sir to give vote of thanks for this inaugural ceremony.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Amar. Hmm. Ayurved Teacher Association. I am audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
आयुर्वेद टीचर एसोसिएशन अभी तक आयुर्वेद टीचर एसोसिएशन ने 5 कॉन्फ्रेंसेस हमने सक्सेसफुली कंडक्ट किए हैं और ये हमारा 6 नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस एटेकॉन 2024 और हमारा थीम जो है वो न्यू हॉरिजॉन इन आयुर्वेदा बेस जो हमने ये 6 कॉन्फ्रेंस का ऑर्गेनाइजेशन किया है। ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लिए ये कॉन्फ्रेंस के लिए हमने ऑनलाइन सेशन के लिए 6 सेशन अरेंज किया है और ऑफलाइन सेशन कल के लिए हमने 7 सेशन अरेंज किया और ये दोनों दिन की सेशन के लिए हमें बहुत अच्छे स्पीकर मिले हैं। इस वक्त हम लगभग 3 महीने से कॉन्फ्रेंस का प्रोग्राम बना रहे हैं अरेंजमेंट के लिए। तो ये आज का जो हमारा फर्स्ट डे ऑनलाइन कॉन्फ्रेंस का सेशन है, इसके लिए हमारे महाराष्ट्र आरोग्य यूनिवर्सिटी की तरफ से एज ए ऑब्जर्वर डॉक्टर गीतांजलि कारले मैम यहाँ पे उपस्थित है। उन्होंने जो वक्त निकाला, उन्होंने एक कॉन्फ्रेंस के बारे में जो अच्छा सा बताया है, तो इसीलिए मैं आयुर्वेद टीचर एसोसिएशन की तरफ से उनका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ। इसी तरह हमारे कॉन्फ्रेंस के लिए महाराष्ट्र आरोग्य विज्ञान विद्यापीठ, एनसीआईएसएम और एमसीआईएम इन्होंने जो हमें सहयोग दिया है एक्रेडिटेशन के लिए या रिकॉग्नाइजेशन के लिए, तो मैं सभी एसोसिएशन का सभी का एसोसिएशन की तरफ से तहे दिल से स्वागत करता हूँ। उसी तरह जो पार्टिसिपेंट है आज के लिए कॉन्फ्रेंस के लिए और उसी के साथ पेपर प्रेजेंट करने के लिए जिन्होंने रजिस्ट्रेशन किया है, ये हमारे कॉन्फ्रेंस के स्टेक होल्डर्स है और यही लोग हमारा कॉन्फ्रेंस सक्सेस करने के लिए सहयोग करते हैं। इसलिए मैं ये सभी लोगों का आयुर्वेद टीचर एसोसिएशन की तरफ से स्वागत करता हूँ और जिन जिन लोगों ने, चाहे वो सेशन कोऑर्डिनेटर हो, स्पीकर है, कोऑर्डिनेटर है, चेयरमैन, को चेयरमैन, कोऑर्डिनेटर, इन्होंने हमारी कॉन्फ्रेंस सक्सेस करने के लिए अभी तक लास्ट 5th कॉन्फ्रेंस तक के अभी का जो 6th कॉन्फ्रेंस है, ये सक्सेस करने के लिए जो कड़ी मेहनत ले रहे हैं, उन सभी का आयुर्वेद टीचर एसोसिएशन की तरफ से मैं धन्यवाद और आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ। और मैं सभी जो ऑनलाइन लोग ज्वाइन हुए हैं और बाकी जो कल हमारे कॉन्फ्रेंस के लिए आने वाले हैं, वो सभी को ये रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ कि आप जो लोग ऑनलाइन जुड़ सकते हैं वो ऑनलाइन जुड़े, और जिन लोगों को कल एक्चुअल राजीव गांधी लर्निंग स्कूल में जो आना चाहते हैं, तो वो सभी का वेलकम करता हूँ। ऐसा ही हमारा कल के जो स्पीकर है वो बहुत अच्छे स्पीकर है। और सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट जो हमारा फंक्शन रहता है वो कल का जो अवार्ड फंक्शन है, बेस्ट टीचर अवार्ड फंक्शन, वो बेस्ट टीचर अवार्ड फंक्शन के लिए सभी लोग आइए और ये कॉन्फ्रेंस का आनंद लीजिए। तो ये इसी के साथ में मेरा आभार प्रदर्शन खत्म करता हूँ। और अभी जो नेक्स्ट सेशन वो चालू होगा उसके लिए डॉक्टर सोनिया मैम और डॉक्टर अमर कामड़े की तरफ जाता हूँ। तो डॉक्टर ओवर टू डॉक्टर कामड़े और सोनिया मैम। थैंक यू सर।
Thank you, sir. Dr. Amar, sir,
Dr.
you
Lode
were
sir,
not audible, sir. Can you please start after sir sessions? Once you repeat, sir.
am I audible? Am I
Now you are
audible
audible,
right
sir.
now?
Please continue, sir.
Dr. Lode sir is there. So I request Dr. Dattatreya Lode sir, Principal GS Gune Ayurved College Ahmednagar, to have few words about the seminar. Dr. Lode sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Amar, sir.
Thank you.
Since last 1 hour, we are invisibly waiting for this inaugural ceremony of uh, ATA. We are here because we have today great personalities. As an observer from MHS, and I am very thankful to Carly ma'am. I am very thankful to ATA President Dr. Suryavanshi sir, and every year we are organizing seminar, conference, online and offline. So I wish all of ATA to have a great, successful conference. We will have a great feast of knowledge today. Great speakers, different topics to discuss that usually cannot be discussed during academics or in classrooms. So, best of luck to all. Thank you. Thank you for expressing my gratitude for by core committee. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Dattatreya Lode sir, for your kind words. Now, uh, with the permission of Dr. Rahul sir, I can declare that the our inaugural ceremony is over now. Thanks to all our Ayurved Teacher Association family members. Thanks to our chief guest, Dr. Gitanjali Karle ma'am, who graced today's occasion of inaugural ceremony. And thanks all the delegates present for this inaugural ceremony. So I declare here that our inaugural ceremony is over now. Now we will move to our today's schedule of various sessions. Rahul sir.
Rahul sir, shall we start now our sessions?
Dr. Chandurkar sir. Dr. Chandurkar sir.
Now you
Sir,
can
shall
start
we?
your.
Yes.
Yes. Now you can start your session.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Over to you, Sonia.
Yes. Now let's commence our first session on autoimmune disorders of Ayurveda. To coordinate our first session, I would like to introduce our session coordinator. Our first session coordinator, Dr. Asmita Salve ma'am, working as assistant professor in Rashnashari department at Ananda Ayurveda College, Vaizapur. And for this session, our second session coordinator, Dr. Rahul Gajre sir, who is working as assistant professor in Prasuti Tantra and Stree Rog department in Bharati Vidyapit College of Ayurveda, Pune. Now I request Dr. Asmita Salve ma'am and Dr. Rahul Gajre sir, please continue the session.
गुड मॉर्निंग टू ऑल myself आवाज येतोय
Yes, ma'am. Yes. येतोय आवाज.
myself डॉक्टर अस्मिता चालरे द लेक्चरर ऑफ रचना शाही तुमचा आप सबका आज के प्रोग्राम में स्वागत है फर्स्टली आई इंट्रोड्यूस द chairperson and the co-chairperson of the today's session. The first chairperson is the Dr. Parshuram Dongre, professor and HOD of the Kai Chikitsa Government Ayurveda College, Nanded. He started his teaching experience from 2002 as an assistant professor for UG and SGR Ayurveda College, Solapur. Then he teaches as an assistant professor to PG student also at same college for 4 years. After that, he worked as associate professor of UG and PG at Government Ayurveda College, Dharashiv from 2012 to 2022. That is 10 years. Now he is a professor and HOD of Kai Chikitsa at GSC Nanded. In our academic section, he is working as a theory practical examiner in the paper set Kai Chikitsa as well as for Twacha Vigyan and Ayurvedic cosmetology in MUHS Nashik. Also conduct research and methodology work. Worked as a RMO at Government Hospital Dharashiv. Worked as a LIC and chairman and committee member of Ayush Sanchanad. Also participated in the CCIM committee member in inspection. Our second co-chairperson is Dr. Sandeep Kumar Suryavanshi. He is associate professor of Komar Nritya at Seth JP Government Ayurveda College, Bhavnagar. He started his teaching career from 2012 as a lecturer at Late Kedari Redekar Ayurveda College, Gadhinglats. Teaches as an associate professor at Government College, Ayurveda College, Ahmedabad from the 2019 to the 2024. And now he is working as at a Sheikh JP College. His about 12 articles are published in international journals. Also, he contributes as a organizing chairperson, national and state level CAME, and as a UG and PG entrance examination paper setter and the revalidator. These two persons should be the review the which is the topic taken by the our next person. Now I would like to call upon our speaker, Dr. Pratibha Shah Madam. She is a BMS MD Ayurveda MPH, is an internationally renowned Ayurveda expert, intensely trained in the traditional health science as well as the public health. Her pioneering initiatives in field of Ayurveda. She routinely delivers educational lectures and modern medicine institute or bodies. With more than 35 years of clinical practice, she is one of the few holistic practitioners leading the effort of true integration focused on client-centric wholesome care. She was nominated in the top 20 Women of the Year for year 2014. Before moving to US in 2004, she was working as a chief medical officer with Central Government of India. She is a founder, president of the Holistic Health Alliance, founder, president of the Council for Ayurveda Research. She launched her own high-end organic herbal products by the name of Swastha. This is the greatness of our Pratibha Shah ma'am. Now, I would like to uh, hand over this session to the Pratibha Shah ma'am to explain her topic, autoimmune disease and Ayurveda. Pratibha Shah ma'am.
Namaste. Namaste. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you
Ma'am.
thank you to ATA, and thank you to all dignitaries and all the stakeholders of Ayurveda who are here today, participating virtually and maybe in person. I'm honored to be invited to share some aspects of autoimmune diseases with all of you. I'm ex-Ayush as well. I used to be with the Ayush Ministry in New Delhi for 13 years. And then for 20 years now, I am in United States and trying to be a foot soldier and ambassador of Ayurveda. So I don't know how my name got proposed, but thank you. I'm delighted to be here. It is 12:45 midnight here, almost 1 a.m. So it's exactly the opposite time from India. But just the enthusiasm to meet with fellow fraternity members has brought me here. So with that, I'll get started. I hope there is no echo. Earlier, there was an echo that was coming. Can you please tell me if there's an echo or not? Are you able to hear me clearly? No echo, I hope?
Yes, ma'am. No echo is there.
Okay, thank you. So today's topic that I have been asked to speak is close to my heart. I have kind of specialized in autoimmune diseases in US because especially in this country, autoimmune diseases are on the rise. And because primary healthcare system is the allopathic medicine system or Western medicine, there is really no proper addressing of the hetus or causes of autoimmune diseases, and that brings about a big loss of quality of life for people who are affected by autoimmune diseases. So it is a topic really close to my heart. What I personally would like to bring to the topic is simplifying the topic, because that is something that I naturally tend to do for myself also, is to dissect a topic and help understand the architecture of that topic, whatever that disease is, to really, in simple terms, try and understand the architecture of that disease and try and use both lenses, which is the Ayurvedic lens and also from Western side of things, to incorporate all of the information that we have today about the number of autoimmune diseases, what are the physiological aspects of immunity of the body, and at a physiological level, all of the additional information that we have in the 21st century of understanding the details of the complex steps that are involved in the expression of any autoimmune disease. So that is going to be my effort through my, some of the slides that I have prepared. So bear with me. And at the end of it, definitely I will try my best to leave some time. We have started late, a little bit late. So I'll try to leave some time for questions. And I'll get started now, right away. So I'm going to share my screen. So here we go. So this is a rough outline of what I'll cover. What is immunity? In brief, what are autoimmune diseases? Some of the facts, importance, and challenges around autoimmune diseases, which I'll refer to ADs, mechanism of AD, how to recognize AD, correlating AD with Ayurvedic principles and Ayurvedic approach to AD. So immunity, let's first understand the component of immunity because we are talking about autoimmunity, which leads to autoimmune diseases. So let's understand immunity first. What is this part referring to? So as a word, it is derived from Latin word immunus, which means free from burden. And in this reference, it is referring to disease caused by microorganisms or their toxic products. Immunity is defined as the state of resistance or insusceptibility or state of um, um, insusceptibility, resistance, or um, uh, insusceptibility to disease caused by microorganisms or their toxic products. So these are the antigens that trigger the immunity response in our body. And immunity is defined as the resistance that is provided by the immunity army inside our body to fight these external agents, which would be classified under the Agantuj Hetu as per Ayurveda. So broadly, there are two types of immunity: innate or natural immunity or acquired immunity. And this is very self-explanatory. Innate is the immunity that which we are born with, that is naturally there within us. And this type of immunity is provided by various components such as skin, mucous membrane, phagocytic cells, etc. This is also called the first line of defense. Acquired or developed or specific immunity is developed later in life. Once we are born, over a period of time, this type of immunity is developed. Again, it's self-explanatory if you look at the words. This is the immunity that develops later in life after microbial infection in a host. It is also called acquired or developed immunity or adaptive immunity. There are various names for it. Components of acquired immunity, such as antibodies and T cells, are specific to particular microorganisms. Again, there are two types of acquired immunity, active and passive. And again, active and passive can be artificial or natural. So it's very easy to understand if I've tried to break it into smaller components. So active immunity is provided if host itself produces antibodies. It is called active immunity. Artificial active immunity will be the immunity that is invoked by vaccination. Again, if you look at the words, they actually are describing what is happening. Natural active immunity is provided by natural infection. Okay, there is no artificial component to it. There is a natural interaction between external agents and our body's own immune response. Passive immunity, if the host does not provide antibodies itself, but antibodies produced in other hosts provides immunity, then it is called passive immunity. So the host is not involved. It is developed. The antibodies are developed outside the host, and then they are transferred to the host. So natural passive immunity, this is the kind of antibodies that are passed across the mother's placenta into the fetus up to 6 months of age. And artificial passive immunity would be the performed antibodies that are injected into the host for immunity. So these examples are there: the rabies vaccine, antivenom serums, etc. And this slide captures everything that we have talked about immunity so far. So now let's understand what are autoimmune diseases. Our immune system is designed to protect our body by responding to invading microorganisms such as viruses or bacteria by producing antibodies or sensitized lymphocytes. So, if you think about a country, let's think about India. India has its own army. The function of the army is to protect India, which is the country, from external attack. So, enemies, right? Neighboring countries or from far off, whoever that might be, that is going to break the defense of our country. Our army is trained to fight that, right? So, that is our immune system. Autoimmune diseases are the clinical correlate of dysregulation of that immune system, involving multiple complex steps and multiple components of both the innate and the adaptive or acquired immune system. So, primarily, it is the adaptive or acquired immune system that is involved, but there is also involvement of the innate immune system. So, if you again go back to the example of the country and the army, it is like the army turning on its own citizens. This is what happens in autoimmune diseases. And it takes many years for this kind of confusion or what we call the loss of buddhi at a cellular level, where there is complete loss of sense of self and the other. So the immune system starts to attack the self, and that is it doesn't happen overnight. Many hetus are involved, many layers are there of complexities, and we will dive into those in just a bit. So some of my slides may have more of a reference to United States, but that will give you a general glimpse also of what can be applied to India as well. So we all know that there has been a dramatic and alarming worldwide increase of autoimmune diseases since World War II. This is not a coincidence. It actually coincides with increased production and use of chemicals both in industries and agriculture, and increased ease of travel, because now we have people that can carry viruses, bacteria, other microorganisms from one part of the world to the other part rather quickly, and that can get transmitted into that region where they have traveled. So both of these factors, the increased use of chemicals overall in food production, in our household items, in every sphere of our life. If you look at anything that you pick up, there is the use of chemicals is ubiquitous. There's no way you can avoid chemicals seeping into your daily life. So that has impacted overall how the populations are responding to it, with inflammation and confusion at the cellular level, which is the primary cause of autoimmunity. As per NIH, up to 50 millions of Americans suffer from an autoimmune disease, and the prevalence is rising. And if you look at the comparison, cancer affects only about 18 million. So 50 million autoimmune diseases and 80 million cancer. And heart diseases about 120 million. So definitely heart diseases are at the top. But if you compare with cancer, the number of people suffering from ADs is much higher. And of course, ADs can lead to cancer also. That is also there, chronic autoimmune diseases. So there are currently about 100 plus defined autoimmune diseases. About 50 million people in US suffer from autoimmune diseases, and 25% of them have cluster diseases, means you won't find one single autoimmune disease. Usually they occur in clusters. So if you have one, you will definitely have tendency for other autoimmune diseases. And 80% of all patients diagnosed with ADs are women. And we can't dive into that today, but that is a point to note. Not only there are 100 plus different autoimmune diseases, there are more that are being suspected of having an autoimmune basis. These diseases tend to be chronic in nature and affect the quality of life, as I was referring to earlier, and productivity, and can be life-threatening. So they can be of an insidious nature, means they're there, you're able to somehow function, go to work, have a family life, but they definitely affect the quality of life. And if left untreated and unaddressed, they can become life threatening. And these are some of the most difficult to recognize. We will see in a bit why. So, despite the high quality of diagnostics, this is an important point to note. It takes an average of 5 years and 4 doctors to get a correct diagnosis, at least here in the US, because here the primary care system is unfortunately very driven and controlled by the insurance sector. So the patient doctor interaction is very brief, and doctors are often not listening enough, and they want the patient to be out of the door quickly. You might be surprised to hear all this, but this is true. And uh, their first line of thinking is more simplistic correlations rather than thinking beyond a certain set numbers of diagnosis. And it doesn't help that the symptoms are often hard to describe. They are vague. They tend to come and go. So, brain fog, you know, um, yes, there might be some joint pains, there might be some bloating, but they don't always remain. They come, they go. And it's difficult to describe those symptoms. So it's not like very specific that I have fever or I have pain while swallowing or I'm breathless. They are usually not that specific. That is a challenge. And autoimmune disease is often not considered until the disease has progressed to a point where severe, classic, or hallmark symptoms start to occur. Take any autoimmune disease, whether it's SLE or MS, usually until and unless the lesions have developed, the autoimmune disease diagnosis is not even considered. Although antibodies may already be present, but until the doctor is recommending the testing of those antibodies, those things get overlooked. So recognition of common early symptoms and the detection of autoantibodies is an essential element in making a timely diagnosis and monitoring disease progression in patients with autoimmune diseases. We now know that antibodies can be present up to 10 years or more before the outbreak of autoimmune, before it's completely expressed, fully developed. So what is being done in these 10 years? Unfortunately, nothing. For example, anti-dsDNA antibodies precede the development of SLE, systematic lupus erythematosus, by 5 to 10 years. But usually the diagnosis is done once the disease is fully developed. So this is very unfortunate that this is not part of the primary care system where these antibodies are tested earlier and these diagnoses are kept in mind when the patient arrives in the early years of development of the diseases. In rheumatoid arthritis, for example, the ACPAs or anti-citrullinate protein antibodies or CCPs may be identified more than 10 years before the occurrence of the first hallmark symptoms, which is, the moving pains and morning stiffness and all those things. Although ACPAs have been recognized for several years, it took a long time for them to be even accepted as a diagnostic criteria. Forget about testing. To even be accepted by the American College of Rheumatology, it took about, a couple decades. Only a few years ago, ACPA detection, along with the well-known rheumatoid factor, that's the one we mostly know because it's more popular, that ACPA has been included in the American College of Rheumatology guidelines as a diagnostic criteria for rheumatoid arthritis. Very unfortunate. ARDA. This is the American Autoimmune Related Disease Association. So ARDA found that more than half of patients with autoimmune diseases had been labeled chronic complainers. Now, this is real, and these are internal labeling that are happening within the medical staff, where the patients are labeled as chronic complainers, and we can get a psychiatric referral. This is actually, it may sound very unreal, but actually that is the ground reality. It happens, and it happens very frequently. Specialists are generally unaware of interrelationships among the different autoimmune diseases or advances in treatment outside their own specialty areas. So as doctors specialize or super specialize, their focus area becomes narrower and narrower. And therefore, they become generally unaware of other, types of diseases that are outside of their expertise area. And that's why also the diagnosis can get missed out. Research is generally disease specific and limited in scope. Now, this also is a very important thing to dwell upon a little bit, because if you look at the 100 plus autoimmune diseases, the underlying process is somewhat similar. Autoimmunity. And we will understand from the Ayurvedic side of things, what does that autoimmunity mean? How do we break that down? So the concept of a general practitioner, GP, is an important one, and which all of you Ayurvedic doctors can fulfill that, where you are able to actually look at the whole of the person and history of the person very, properly in a detailed way, because our tools are darshana, sparshana, prashnehi, right? So the prashnehi part is a very important one, where, because, diagnosis is almost like the work of a medical detective, right? It's the scene of a crime, right? We call it pragya aparadha, right? Those are some of the causes, clusters which cause vyadhis, right? So our job is like a medical detective, and a medical detective cannot arrive at the scene of a crime and just see, oh, there's a knife lying down, so that must be the cause of the murder. It may not be, so unless you put together the whole history, you take in all the clues and the cues and put together the whole picture, dosha, dushya, samurchana, samprapti, vigatan, all of those processes, unless you're doing, you will miss out on the diagnosis. So that is a job we can do very well, because we, at least in India, we do not have the insurance sector controlling how we are listening to our patients. And I'll tell you one thing in this regard, that it's interesting that when I was working with Ayush in New Delhi, we used to have like 100 patients in OPD in 6 hours, 7:30 to 1:30. And there was hardly any time to do proper history taking, which is something we are taught, right? But here in the US, I am seeing one patient for 1 hour. And here I have my own instruments of intake, and I'm doing justice to the Prashnehi part, which is the primary source of assessment, because here, because Ayurveda is not licensed, you cannot do the Sparshana part that much. I do Nadi Pariksha, but you can't do auscultation or palpation, etc. So coming back to the slide here, inability to quickly identify an autoimmune disease can take a serious toll on a patient, both physically and mentally, because the patient is confused. What is happening to me? I don't have anything that I can explain. I don't have anything clear enough that I can say, oh, I'm having this problem. I cannot describe it properly. It is so vague. And then also it comes and goes. So they are confused. They are not able to convey properly. And whatever they convey, the doctors are in such a hurry that they are not able to put together the cues, the possibilities, and therefore they do not recommend the diagnostic tests that can help to confirm a hypothetical diagnosis, a provisional diagnosis. So these are some of the real challenges with the diagnosis, and therefore the whatever the Western medicine has the treatment in the US, of course, from Ayurveda perspective, also we'll see. Because we do need Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, or homeopathy, or alternate methods for treating autoimmune diseases, because Western medicine does not have a good understanding about the process of development of autoimmune diseases. And that is where they fail in having any effective treatment approaches except of steroids and other harsh chemical drugs, which do nothing to the process of autoimmunity. They just manage the symptoms, and that too temporarily. So we do have a very strong and good solutions in our systems, and we'll visit that in a bit. So, the Institute of Medicine reports that the US is behind other countries in research into immune system self recognition, the process that is involved in autoimmune disease. So, Canada is much better, European countries are much better, but United States is lagging behind. Again, this might come as a surprise to you, but this is really a sad fact. So, about a decade or so ago, Dr. Fasano came up with this triad of autoimmune diseases, and this has really revolutionized the understanding of autoimmune diseases. So, if you look at this triad, on one end we have genetics, on the other end we have the environmental factors, and on the third end we have the gut dysbiosis. And gut dysbiosis, I think no other system can understand better than Ayurveda, and we'll talk about it. So let's start with genetics. So genetic variants predispose humans to multiple autoimmune diseases. Specific genes predispose humans to specific autoimmune diseases. A large population-based survey revealed patients with MS or RA were more likely to have other autoimmune diseases. So that is the genetic predisposition. However, this concordance rate is only 10 to 40% for most autoimmune diseases, indicating environmental factors as playing a major role. So only 10 to 40% is accounted for by genetic factors. So what are the environmental factors, or we can consider them as agantuj hetus? Chemical toxicants. Now, chemical toxicants in India still better, but in US, the soil, the air, the water are quite contaminated, especially the soil, because there is no crop rotation. There is industrial style of agricultural practices, which means unicrops and soil depletion and use of heavy pesticides, insecticides. So there is a saturation of chemicals in the environment, which includes everything, which includes the air, which includes the water, which includes the soil, and therefore the food that is grown. Heavy metals are also now beginning to creep into the water supply and therefore the soil. And of course, viruses, bacteria are there everywhere. In all parts of the world, there are fellow species, so they are fighting to survive. So there is a war that is on 24/7. And then emotional stress is extremely high in a country like United States, and that actually is a factor that is not taken into account often. Even in India, I would highly recommend, please start paying attention to stress levels. Have that as a part of your intake forms. We are not paying attention, especially in the cities. Stress levels are really increasing. And of course, drugs. Adjuvants such as aluminum hydroxide. Now, this was used in vaccines and medical silicones used in breast implants, which now is being reduced but not gone fully, can also cause an autoimmune disorder. For example, Schoenfeld syndrome. And then it used to be a very common ingredient in vaccines. Now it is being reduced, but it has not been eliminated fully. Bacteria, viruses, fungi, and parasites, they trigger autoimmune disorders through several mechanisms. So you can get an infection, and that can trigger an autoimmune response, okay? Because that can cause enough confusion in your immune system, your army, to start attacking its own countrymen, country people. And this can occur through molecular mimicry, because viruses are very smart. We have seen the COVID epidemic. Viruses are super smart. They can modify very quickly, mutate very quickly. Epitope spreading bacteria through their pieces. They can start invading and programming the host cells. Viral persistence, viruses can remain latent for decades in your body, and they can start to trigger autoimmune responses. Polyclonal activation, dysregulation of immune homeostasis, autoinflammatory activation of innate immunity, so many mechanisms. So the total burden of multiple infections can also trigger autoimmunity. Maybe one infection may not, but if you have somehow been contracting different infections or the same type of infection multiple times, then the total burden of multiple infections can also become a trigger for autoimmunity. Moreover, an infection can amplify an autoimmune disease by either exacerbating an ongoing disorder, including a relapse, or by leading to chronic progressive disease. So if there is an underlying autoimmunity or autoimmune disease, it can exacerbate that. Again, as I was saying, our food habits have changed. In India, also, I can see all of the things that are in the US are now reaching India. And certain things that are being kind of discouraged here or discarded here are very fashionable in India. For example, McDonald's, people are discarding McDonald's or shunning it. McDonald's is shutting down in many places. But when I come to India, it is considered fashionable to have a party in McDonald's. So I see processed food really increasing in the Indian population as well. And that is something we really need to educate our patients and discourage that in our personal lives as well as in our patients' lives. So we ate for centuries fresh, harvested, ethnic, seasonal foods. Now foods are altered. Their basic composition is altered, right? Genetically modified foods are out there. Meat was consumed only when a fresh game had been caught, right? Only when you can go out and hunt. In the past, that's how we used to eat meat. But now it is grown industry style. And that means a lot of things: antibiotics, hormones, injections, cruelty, all kinds of things that affect the quality and the composition of the food that we are eating, which is probably no longer food. If you just go by the definition of food, which should only nourish us, it should not harm us. And new strains of grains, and let me keep an eye on the time. Yeah. So you can see that a lot of chemicals have been introduced, and meat is also being introduced, factory style. Chemical ingredients have increased, processing has increased, artificial components like sweeteners or colors or additives have been added, artificial flavors have been added. We consume more than twice the amount of salt that we should, and we're not talking about table salt here, right? We're talking about preservatives, sodium salts, potassium salts, which are used as preservatives because we are people of convenience now, right? Everybody needs a shortcut. Nobody thinks twice about opening a frozen packet of food and warming it in the microwave, and you know we have ready food now, but that's really not food, because it's not only probably not nourishing you properly, it's also creating a lot of inflammation and irritation in your body at a cellular level. Abundant use of plasticizers, such as bisphenol A, in food and beverage containers. So we have plastics everywhere now, including microplastics in the water, in the salt. So it's a crazy world we are living in. We are actually poisoning ourselves. So these are called xenobiotics. And widespread use of antibiotics, as I said, industrial production of meat, antacids, proton pump PPI, histamine 2 blockers, and other drugs, many of which are available over the counter, adds to the milieu of chemicals we consume. So now let's come to the gut dysbiosis, the most important part. Our gut, with a surface area of approximately 200 square meters, is where we come into the greatest contact with the outside world, right? This is where outside into inside. Where is it going? Into your gut. Outside into inside. This is the greatest area of contact. Gut also has the largest collection of immune cells, right? We all know that, consisting of 70% of all lymphoid tissue is found in the gut. It serves to prevent the outgrowth of pathogenic organisms. We carry approximately 1 to 10 to the power of 13 microorganisms in our gut, more than 10 times the total number of cells in our body. So there's always this debate. Are we humans or are we colonies of microorganisms? So there are many factors that can impact the gut microbiome. The epithelial cells that have the secretory, digestive, absorptive functions. I will not go into great detail because I need to finish some other slides before we finish and open for Q&A. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I think this is all basic anatomy and physiology. And these are some of the factors that can affect the gut microbiome at the time of birth itself, right? We all know natural delivery always inoculates our gut with proper microbiome, and cesarean section, that doesn't happen. Then feeding, breastfeeding versus formula makes a lot of difference. Infections and pharmaceutical medications, poor diet, smoking, alcohol, age, lifestyle, these all affect the gut microbiome, right? This is just a picture capturing that. And from Ayurveda perspective, this is kind of like a picture of a clean gut or a clean wall. And when you have ama, this is how it starts to look, right? Chronic ama. So now I'm going to come to the Ayurvedic part, and I'm going to rush through this quickly. As I was sharing with all of you in the beginning, that you don't need complex solutions for complex issues. If you just remember all of the basics of Ayurveda, the basic tenets, the Panchamahabhuta, the three doshas, the Sapta Dhatus, all of the indicators of health, Sattva, Sar, Samanan, Bala, all of that. The definition of health, keep this as your index, Is my patient satisfying most of the conditions here? Samadosha, Samadhatu, Samagnischa, Malakriya, Prasanna, Atmendriya, Manaha, Swasthite, Vidiyate. These days in India, I'm seeing this very, very commonly, that mostly our doctors are restricted to the first line. Second line is not being assessed or addressed at all. right? So that this really needs to change. We need to remember the complete definition of health and make sure you are doing that in your history taking. And then again, the Traya Upastamba of Swasthya, Ahara Nidra Brahmacharya. Just assess on these three parameters. Are these being checked off? Brahmacharya means not celibacy. Apply it as discipline in life. Some regularity of waking up, some rhythm, some circadian rhythm that is being followed, at least to some extent. That is what I would encourage you to infer from Brahmacharya. And then remember the causes of diseases. Pragyaparada, Satmendriyartha Sanyoga, Kala. So, Asatmendriyartha Sanyoga is also happening a lot. And that needs to also be kept in mind. All the youngsters with the headphones, always the screen, blue light, these things need to be kept in mind. What are the new Pragyaparadhas in the 21st century? What are the new Asatmendriyartha Sanyogas in 21st century? Kala is, of course, Anadi and Ananta, right? That applies always. So, what are the key factors in autoimmune diseases according to Ayurveda? Agni, always. Kaya is Agni, Agni is Kaya. So, Agni has to be assessed, right? Always. Ama, what is the state of Ama? State of Dosha Dhatu Mala, homeostasis. Disturbance of Prasanna Atmendriya Manas, stress levels, right? Emotional health. Depletion of ojas, because that always translates to reserve and immunity, right? Kapha, ojas, immunity, they are all in the same uh, level. State of Sara, Samhanan, Bala. And what are the factors that may affect this homeostasis? Adhyashana, which is happening a lot. I think everybody will agree. Atyashana, Ati is what is killing mostly rather than Hina. Anashana, this is less, Atyashana is more, which is killing. Eating of heavy fast foods, eating leftovers, genetically modified foods, all of this, I think you all know. Viruddha we are not assessing for that. All these smoothie culture, putting the yogurt, they call yogurt here, curd and milk in the same blend, sour fruits with milk, all of this Viruddha is going on in the name of what is popular, what is in, what is trending. Yeah. Poor quality of food, highly refined and processed foods which hardly have any nutritive value, excessive animal products, right? Poor elimination of waste. This is also a big problem. People are not eliminating properly, so they also become toxins for the body at not just the levels of the bowels, but also at the cellular level and at the level of mind, mental toxins as well. Bad sleep hygiene. People are sleeping late and late. Education system is forcing younger and younger children to sleep late. So the Ahara Nidra Brahmacharya balance is gone, right? So Nidra is something also we need to really, really focus on and encourage and educate our clients to fix those things. Again, in India also now the practice has become very allopathic kind. Yes, you come in, your disease will write prescription, go. There is no patient education happening. I think we need to get back to that because unless you educate the patient, they'll come back. Then that's a Western model, right? So we need to come back to the Ayurvedic principles in a very sincere way, right? All of these stimulants, improper care in pregnancy, stress, worry. I really put that in red because at least in the United States, that's a real hetu. Trauma, all kinds of mental, emotional, physical trauma, excessive use of food supplements, everything is in powder, protein powder, this powder, that powder, you mix. That is not how our body absorbs nutrients. So that's a very modern way of living and which is a very unsmart way of living. We have taken leave of our common sense. And xenobiotics, I've already talked about. Adharnia vagus, are we assessing for that? That is also happening a lot, right? You're in a corporate meeting or you're teaching, you're controlling your urges. And that also leads to um, imbalances, right? Sama. The sama becomes vishama. Toxicity and deterioration of our environment, air, water, and earth, our natural resources, excessive sexual activity, a culture of excesses in general, and I'm definitely talking about United States here, but it's coming to India also. Everything in excess, a disconnect with the real self, this introspection, reflection, there is no time. The calendar is full, party, this, that, just keep doing, stop being. So that is a big problem of 21st century. Irregular lifestyle, trauma, nutritional deficiency in our diet today. So what are the principles of management of AD? Again, I'll go through this very quickly. Nidana parivarjanam. This has to happen. If you're straight away writing prescriptions, again, it is not going to be a lasting solution. Your patient will come back. So Nidana Parivarjanam is extremely, extremely important. And then in a staggered manner, you have to do Agni Deepana, Ampachana, Stroto Shodhana, Vyadhi Pratyanika, Aushadhi Dravyas, Rasayana, all of these are necessary. And then, of course, this has to be supported with Pathya. And you have to take a staggered approach. You can't start Rasayana right away, right? You have to do the Langana, Agni Deepana, Ampachana, all of that. And you have to educate your patient about Dinacharya, Ritucharya. If needed, Panchakarma should be done. You should recommend some dhyana, some yoga, pranayama, sadvritta. Client education, I should put it in bold. This is very, very important. And in my practice, I spend time on that, and that brings beautiful results. This is just a small general list of some of the herbs that I use. These are some of the references. And this is important. Whatever the disease, rest, clean air, pure water, and nutritious fresh food will still be needed to initiate and complete the process of healing. So don't underestimate that. All right. Thank you. I hope I have finished in time for a few questions.
Thank you, madam. Am I?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir. You continue the session, sir.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Shah madam, for such an informative and knowledgeable session. And beyond that, I would like to thank you for giving your valuable time. As you told, right now there at your place there is midnight.
It's
Thank you, madam,
1:30
for
a.m.
accepting our
1:30 a.m.
invitation
right
for
now.
this online session. Okay. Thank you, madam. Thank you. Now I would like to request this session chairperson and co-chairperson, Dr. Dongre sir and Suryanshi, please give your valuable comments on this session.
I request Dr.
Hello,
Yes, sir. Now you are.
am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You are audible, sir.
Uh,
Suryavanshi, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, all of you. Thank you, Ayurveda Teacher Association, all the stakeholders organized ATACon 2024. It's a great pleasure to me introduce actually our great speaker, Ma'am Shah Ma'am. Uh, I want to just add some points and the Ayurvedic approach to addressing immune suppression, Ayurveda, uh, autism, actually autoimmune disorders. Ma'am has explained very well about autoimmune disorders. Actually, critical topic which undoubtedly, ma'am, enhances our understanding of this topic and recognize the holistic approach that Ayurveda offers in managing and supporting the immune system. Ma'am has explained a comprehensive approach in immune suppression, focusing on restoring balance, enhancing the body's natural defenses uh, through diet, lifestyle, and herbal interventions. Actually, I'm coming from Komar Vidya. Actually, autoimmune diseases I come across every day. Patients comes to my OPD, and when the immune system, actually, autoimmune diseases are the disorders that attacks healthy cells in the body, and common problems disorders are juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, juvenile diabetes, type 1, SLE, then IBS, multiple sclerosis. Ma'am has explained very well in actually that psychological endocrinal aspect which use in our actually Ayurveda, Ama, then Agni, importance of Agni. In Charaka also explains importance of Agni in Grahani. And take home message from my side is immune mechanism is not something working in seclusion, and actually almost all the systems are connected with immune system. uh, it is all about to maintain homeostasis. Charaka elaborated Agni, importance of Agni is very important. Rasa Rakta Dhatu, Majja Shukra Dhatu, and Agni and Dhatu Agni is very well mentioned or importance of these factors in autoimmune disorders explained by ma'am. Uh, uh, from my side, please go to Purushottam sir. Hello.
Hello.
Purushottam sir, over to you.
Dr. Rahul Kajore, sir, please. Where is Dr. Dogra, sir? Please ask them.
Sandeep Kumar Suryavanshi, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, over. Parshuram Dongre, sir. Hello. Dongre, sir.
Dongre sir is there. Sonia madam, please confirm. Dongre sir is there.
Hello. Dongre, sir is in emergency. So, now.
Sonia madam.
Yes, Dr. Rahul, sir.
Can
If sir is not there,
Yes,
then you can continue with vote of thanks,
yes,
sir.
yes, yes, yes,
Yes,
yes.
please go
Thank
ahead.
you. Thank you, Pratibha Shah madam, for your informative session, informative lecture. And thank you all Etiacon team for giving me as a coordinator for this session. Thank you, Rahul Suryavanshi sir, and all team for giving me a chance as a coordinator for this session. Thank you, madam. I hand over to Sonia Dhatt, madam. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pratibha Shah, ma'am, for giving us this valuable knowledge on very versatile topic on autoimmune disease. Thank you, chairperson and co-chairperson. Thank you so much, session coordinators, especially Dr. Asmita ma'am and Dr. Rahul Gajre sir. Now I conclude that first session is over here now. For second session, I will hand over these sessions to Dr. Amar Kamble sir. Over to you, Amar sir.